this they shall know that you're my disciples, by your love one for another. We need to change our concept about the love of God. It's unconditional. He loves you when you're right. He loves you when you're wrong. He loves you when you're well. He loves you when you're sick. He loves you when you're rich. He loves you when you're poor. He loves you. And you don't have to carry a banner that flutters over your head that says, I am a, you fill in the blank. Because it doesn't make any difference what you call yourself. He still loves you. And love will cause us to change. I think we've been beat up an awful lot. I think we have been threatened an awful lot from the pulpit. I think we have been misled and misguided from the pulpit. And it's time for us to get back and say, you know what? I want this change. I want to know the love of God. I don't care. You know what? I'm not a doctrinal person. And I don't care about your doctrines, because your doctrines don't save you. Your doctrines don't enlarge you. Your doctrines don't make you Christ-like. It's when you change and become Christ-like. And then I would challenge you to say, what difference is it what you call yourself? Presbyterian, Lutheran, Foursquare, Pentecostal, Catholic, and there's a whole list. There's just a few that come to mind. Does it make any difference what you call yourself? As long as you know the love of God, and as long as you allow that love to lead you to change. I would almost challenge all of you to go home and just change one thing about your life. Just change one thing. And I'll leave that up to you. I could probably tell you what you should change, but I'll leave that up to you. And I want to go home, and I want to change. I want the Word to change me. I want the love of God to change me. I don't want condemnation. I don't want, the haughty-high attitudes of people who are so religious to change me. I want the love of God to change me. I want the love of God to show me what I need to lay aside. Because the Word says, let us lay aside every sin and the weight that does so easily beset us. And sometimes it's not sin, it's just something that's a weight. You can't classify it. You ever seen some of the pictures of some of these Southern American countries that's probably even going on now, where they take these lead balls and they're tied onto hooks, and men hook these into their bodies, and they let those weights hang, and they're doing God a service. Oh. Lay aside every weight and the sin that does so easily beset us, that we might run this race with patience, keeping our eyes on the prize of the high calling of God. What is that high calling? To love one another. If you will let the problem saying to someone, I love you. The problem is what society has turned that love into. Because they've turned love into abuse. And generally speaking, if people's heart right with God and somebody says to them, I love you, it's like, back away, Jack, you ain't getting what I got. But that's what society, that's the change that society has brought to us about love. It's abusive, it's painful, it hurts. No, it doesn't. Not the love of God. And if we love one another with the love of God, we will not hurt one another. We will not insult one another. We will not keep putting one another down. God help us when we have that kind of relationship, change it. Let the love of God change it. How does the Word tell us, husbands, that you're supposed to love your wives? Yeah, like Christ loved the church. And I have never read or heard where he put down the church or insulted it or told it it was worthless. Even in its sin and its iniquity, he looked beyond that and he saw the seed that had been planted there. Amen. And I tell you what, in every backslider's heart, there's a seed still there that God is searching to find it and bring it back to the place that it should be. And it can only be changed by us loving the backslider. Not condemning them. Not by saying, well, the Word says, when a brother's caught in a fault, you that are spiritual, restore such a one. Doesn't say condemn them or throw them or take their license or take their ordination away from them. That's right. That's not even being spiritual. That's being carnal and fleshly. And we've had that club held over our head for the last 200 years. Well, if you don't do what headquarters says, the axe is going to come down and we're going to revoke your ordination and we're going to put you out on the street. Is that restoring? That's compounding. And I tell you what, in my lifetime, I have seen a lot of good ministries fall along the way because this so-called headquarters put them in their place. And they lost these good ministries. And they're still wandering out there waiting for somebody just to come along and say, you know what, I love you. I don't care whether you're rich or poor or famous, got talent, don't have any talent, doesn't make any difference. I just love you. Because you are a part of the plan of God. Every one of us are part of the plan of God. But some of us have been swept out the door because we don't conform to fill in the blank. Change, change, change. Change is coming. Let me give you a couple more scriptures. Changes now. Changes now. You know, I prayed over this night. I said, God, what is it? What are you going to change? Just show me something. Nothing. And I pleaded all week. Lord, just show me something for one person. If you want, just show me. Silence. You know what? Because it's none of my business. What He wants to change in you is not between you and me and Him. It's between you and Him alone. Not you and me and Him. Not you and the church and Him.